Hey, thank you for joining today's stream. I hope you're having a good time. If you're watching the stream, I would like to say thanks to you. Thanks for joining my stream. We had a last stream where we thought we will go and discuss something about NativeScript. But before going to NativeScript, I thought it is very much important to discuss about JavaScript. So if you are a beginner who is watching this stream, there are various mediums through which you can learn JavaScript today. So one of the resources which I find very useful are you can go to Free Code Camp. In Free Code Camp, you can find under curriculum, you can learn uh, basics of HTML and HTML5, and once you complete your responsive web design, you can basically understand what is JavaScript and understand what are all the basics of JavaScript from this particular tutorial in Free Code Camp. This is a very good resource if you are starting to learn JavaScript. And once you complete your Free Code Camp, this will be very much beginner friendly. And for professionals, if you are watching the stream, uh, I always, as a developer, go to W3 schools. So it is my first go-to resource whenever I have some doubt with respect to JavaScript. I just go here and refer the various functions or objects if I am forgetting something. Because to be frank, even as a experienced developer, we will be uh, forgetting some concepts. But it is it is not bad to go and check into resources which are available so that you can refresh yourself. So that's why I always prefer continuous learning. And this stream is also part of a continuous learning initiative for me, where I can learn things and I can help you as a viewer to learn JavaScript. So if there is something which I might be wrong, you can always feel free to reach out to me and we can learn together as a community uh, the various concepts of JavaScript. So I found W3 schools very helpful for me in my earlier days of programming, and today also I go to W3 schools whenever there is something which I want to refresh myself. And the other resource which I would suggest is you can always go to javascript30.com. So here you can go through this 30-day JavaScript concept, JavaScript uh, sorry, you can go through this 30-day JavaScript tutorials wherein you can understand all the concepts. So this is another resource which you can go and explore. So as a beginner or as a professional, I would suggest people to go to these sites because I go to these sites whenever I want to learn something with respect to JavaScript. So now that you know where I go to learn my JavaScript stuff, uh, let's discuss today. There are various frameworks which are available. So starting from Angular, Vue Js, React, Svelte, there are many front-end frameworks which are available today to develop web applications. So the idea of all these frameworks is to make development friendly so that developers will be able to concentrate on the functionality of their applications rather than worrying about handling the intricacies of or difficulties involved in JavaScript. Or as a JavaScript developer, everyone has this common complaint, right? I do C sharp coding as well, but as a and I like doing JavaScript programming as well. The general feedback within the developer community is like if you are doing JavaScript programming, people will try to always be away from JavaScript projects because in JavaScript, earlier days, we were not able to find any issues while we develop the application. You will be able to find the issue only when you debug the application, or when you will find it only in the runtime. So everyone were very cautious with using JavaScript. But I like JavaScript programming, and even today I do most of my work with handling with JavaScript code. So the basic issues what we used to say is like with JavaScript, I was not able to find issues while I develop my code. You'll not be able to find whether a variable or object is spelled wrong while during development phases. But thanks to TypeScript, today many people are interested in using TypeScript because TypeScript has provided similar support like what I get in a C# programming. So now during development, I know that the variables or the method names, if they are wrong, they will be known during development phase itself, or you can find out them during your compile time. So TypeScript has given that one of the good feature with TypeScript is that. So today's developers, you are in a safe land wherein you have TypeScript, and you have the choice to choose your own frameworks. So with all these frameworks which are available, selecting a framework is always a tedious one and a difficult one. So how would you select a particular framework? I would not select a framework just because everyone is using a particular framework, or XYZ framework will help me get a good pay, right? So before selecting a particular framework in front end, it is important to us that we master JavaScript. So if you are a beginner, you can always go to those sites which I mentioned, which is Free Code Camp or W3 Schools, or if you want to do the 30-day challenge, you can always go to javascript30.com. So these sites master your JavaScript skills, and once you master your JavaScript skills, if you are interested, you can learn TypeScript as well, because most of the frameworks today they support or they use TypeScript. So today Angular has support for TypeScript. You can use TypeScript with Vue Js applications, or you can use TypeScript in React as well. So it is up to you as a developer whether you want to program your applications using TypeScript or programming your applications using JavaScript. And there are many tools available today to help a developer understand or increase the productivity of a developer. So one of the such tool today is VS Code. To me, I use VS Code in all my development work. Whether it is an Angular application, whether it is a Vue Js application, or whether it is a mobile application using NativeScript, I code using Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has been a game changer for Microsoft, because today's Microsoft is not the same as yesterday. In today's Microsoft, you won't believe that there is more support for open source technologies. So VS Code also will help you as you can use it as your preferred IDE to develop applications. So once you master JavaScript frameworks, you can always go and select any framework. So today there are various frameworks like Angular. If you want to start Angular, you can always go to angular.io. And here there is a vast community support for Angular that all the documents are up to date. And you can see now as of today, Angular is currently, the stable version is 8.2.6. But I don't think all enterprise applications are using 8.2.6 now. Most of them might be still using version 6 or version 7. So even at my workplace, I think we are still under V6. So they will be migrating it to V8 once there is a broader support for application. So as a developer, you can learn Angular, or you can also go to React. I have not started React development. I have to learn React programming as well. So that's the reason you might, I'm basically trying to go through the React site. Sorry with that link. As I told you, I am not a React developer. So here also React community. React is created by Facebook and it is maintained by Facebook engineers. So here also there is a good community support available for React. You can, if you are planning to start through React, you can go through the docs, and there is always the try React section, and you can basically go over these initial playground features. You can either develop application using CodePen, Code Sandbox, or Glitch. All these are like online editors which you can use even without installing anything in your local development machine. And there is something called Create React App. You can also use this to develop your application using React. It provides you very good initial scaffolding things, so that uh, they basically take all the prerequisites which are required for a React application, and you can basically use this particular template to start or create your own React application where everything is scaffolded for you. And so according to them, they say like you don't need to install or configure tools like Webpack or Babel. They are pre-configured. So these are some tools which help making developer life easier if you want to try React. Next is, if you want to learn Vue Js, I can always say that you can go to vuejs.org, and here under the documentations you can find Vue.js related information. So vuejs.org site has a very, according to developer community, it is believed that Vue.js is easier to start and the learning curve associated with Vue.js is very less. But to me as a developer, If you are an Angular developer, you can still go and learn Vue Js very easily. Or if you are a Vue Js developer, you can still go and learn Angular easily. It is all about going and understanding the fundamental structure of all these applications and reusing the concepts which you learn in one framework in another framework. Almost all the frameworks share a similar uh, type of coding or similar type of architectures. So every framework today is depending on component based architecture. And the next is, if you want, you can also start learning Svelte. So Svelte is quite different compared to Angular, React, and Vue.js. So Svelte will not have any compile time in your browser. With Angular, React, and Vue, there might be or there is a compile time in the browser, whereas, so according to them, Svelte is a radical new approach to build user interfaces, and frameworks like React and Vue do the bulk of their work in the browser. Svelte shifts that work into a compile step that happens when you build your app. So all these frameworks are eventually going to support Jamstack. So what is Jamstack? So Jamstack is nothing but basically your web applications are going to have only three things. J stands for JavaScript, A stands for an API, and M stands for markup. So following the Jamstack, all the frameworks today are going to use or they are going to ship to the browser a pre-compiled HTML so that the browser will not do a major chunk of compilation. So Angular is going to do that with 8. They are going to use something called AOT. So if you are using the latest framework of Angular, you will get the support of AOT. So what is AOT? So AOT is nothing but basically you are going to compile your application during the build process, which helps rendering to your browser faster. So what it does is, like, when you are going to build your application, it will convert your Angular HTML and TypeScript into JavaScript. So as I told, all these frameworks, whether it is Angular, React, Vue.js, Svelte, everything is internally going to get converted into JavaScript. So if you are going to start learning web development, I always suggest to go through initially the JavaScript, and at least you should know some basics of JavaScript. And once you learn the basics of JavaScript, you can go to any framework of your choice and start developing applications. And I don't tell that you have to go only through this route. This is something which has worked for me, and I think it might work for you as well. So if you go in the community, some might tell that to me, learning frameworks directly was very helpful, or learning JavaScript and then going to framework was very helpful. So, as a developer, it is up to you which route you will take. But whichever path you take, you have to have a basic understanding of JavaScript and go into further resources with Angular or React or Vue Js or Svelte. The reason behind going through all these JavaScript frameworks and the various front-end frameworks today is that I want to let you know that all these frameworks have been evolved from JavaScript. So, if you want to start mobile development, you can choose NativeScript, and NativeScript today has official support for Angular, and it is officially supported for Vue.js, and it is officially supported for plain JavaScript. And there is a community based support for React and community based support for Svelte as well. Svelte has their own native code called Svelte Native, and Svelte Native is built on top of NativeScript. So all the frameworks which are available today, you can use all those with NativeScript. And if you are seeing here, there is a hackathon organized by NativeScript and Angular team. So if you want to go, and if you are a beginner for NativeScript, you can always go and participate in this online hackathon and learn the concepts or basics of NativeScript. You no need to be an expert to participate in this hackathon. You can, if you are a beginner as well, you can go and join this hackathon, get associated with the teams, and you can basically understand the concepts of NativeScript and how it is used with an Angular application. So if you are developing a NativeScript application, you can use any of these frameworks of your choice. You can use Angular, you can use React, Vue.js, Svelte, or you can use plain JavaScript. And the other cross-platform development, mobile development framework is Ionic. So Ionic also supports developing applications using all the frameworks which I have discussed till now. Like they also provide support for Angular, they also provide support for React. As of today, they have released React RC2 version. They have provided major bug fixes for React support with Ionic. And Ionic and Angular community is very active, and you might have noticed if you are developing a progressive web apps with Angular, the go-to choice was, or the go-to choice is, I should not tell was, I should tell is Ionic. So if you are planning to develop a progressive web app, Ionic is your choice of framework which you can choose to develop. And with Ionic, you can develop web as well as mobile. It can support both platforms. And if it is going to be a progressive web app, then it is 100% that you can choose Ionic framework and start learning Ionic framework. If your scenario, you're not going to use progressive web apps, you require more support for native controls, in the sense you want to do programming for sensors, or you want to program the internal APIs of iOS, then NativeScript is your preferred choice. You can easily develop plugins. So if you go to the docs section, Let's say you want to use a particular sensor, or you want to do programming with Bluetooth. You can use internal plugins which are readily available, or you can always develop your own plugins. So that's a very good support which you get with NativeScript, wherein you can use your plain JavaScript or TypeScript coding to develop your plugins and access the iOS internals or Android internals, and use that particular package to create your plugin and use it across your mobile application. So if you are choosing Angular, the documents are updated for NativeScript Angular flavor, or if you are a Vue using Vue Js, you can select Vue Js integration, and there is a NativeScript core which basically uses plain JavaScript. The site currently tells the current version is 6.0, but to my understanding, there is a 6.1 version which got released. As I told in my last stream, uh, 6.1 version is currently released, and I think they will be updating the docs also if there are any things which needs to be updated specific to 6.1. So developing plugins is very easy with NativeScript. So you can develop plugins either using JavaScript, or you can develop plugins using uh, TypeScript. So if you are not able to find, or if you are not able to uh, write your own plugin, you can always go into the marketplace where you can find the community developed plugins, and you can find verified plugins. Verified plugins are verified by the NativeScript team, and community plugins are supported by the community. So you can see here there are various plugins which are available. And if you are a beginner, you can basically use these templates. You can either use a blank template or drawer navigation template. So there are predefined templates which are already available. If you want, you can develop application using Firebase, or you can develop applications using Vue as well. So this is the template section. If you want to get a feel of NativeScript, you can always go to the samples, and here there are pre-built samples developed by various community engineers and developed by NativeScript ambassadors and developed by NativeScript team as well. So you can select any of these samples, and you can basically reuse them for your applications, or you can basically understand how things are configured or how things are programmed in NativeScript. So before starting development, I would always try, like, let's say you want to try this login form. You can always go to this playground demo, and based on your choice, so whenever you select a particular sample, they display you the programming language the sample is supported. So for example, this animated search is supported with Vue Js. A login form is supported with Angular, Vue, and JavaScript. So by checking those, you can select your own plugins, or you can select your own samples and select the playground. Let's say if I want to use Vue.js, I select the Vue. You will get a portal called Playground. where that particular sample has been pre-built, and you can see all the code here. So this component is currently having a home component and a login component. So if you want to see like what this application is doing, you can basically go select this QR code, scan the QR code, and you can preview it in your application, in your mobile or in your own device. So let's say if I say preview, it will launch the QR code and scan the QR code. So to use Playground and Preview, you have to install two applications which are from the App Store, that is NativeScript Playground and NativeScript Preview. So once you install those two apps and scan this particular QR code, it will show this particular, or it will deploy this application from Playground to your device directly. So Playground is a very good feature if you want to start learning NativeScript. You can go to this Get Started section, and here you can select Interactive Tutorials, and since I have selected Vue Js, it currently shows me the tutorial with Vue Js. So there is a tutorial for getting started, and there is a tutorial to develop weather app using NativeScript Vue. So if I select those, you can basically follow through these instructions to develop cool mobile apps using Vue Js and NativeScript. So I think so far we have seen what are all the different frameworks which are available. If you are a beginner, what are the resources which you can use to start JavaScript learning? And once you learn JavaScript, you can go through any of these frameworks for web development, and you can go and use Ionic or NativeScript if you are planning to develop mobile applications using JavaScript as your background programming knowledge. So with this introductory background, I will stream my next streams where we will go into the internals of NativeScript. We can go into the internals of Vue Js or Angular. I will try to schedule things accordingly, which will provide a basic understanding from a beginner standpoint. Hope you will join my future streams, and thank you for joining. If you have any feedback, you can always let me know. You can reach out to me on my Twitter. And you can also find my Twitter handles in the description. Thank you for watching the feed, and we will come back with a detailed stream in our upcoming sessions. Thank you.